So you did it. You put in the hours, you finished the project, you got through the course. First off, congratulations. But what if I told you that the finish line is actually the starting block for the real growth? Today, we're going to dig into how you can make sure everything you just learned doesn't just fade away, but actually becomes a permanent part of who you are. It's the question we all face, isn't it? We've all been there. You get that certificate, you submit the final assignment, and then there's that moment of, okay, so now what? That moment is absolutely critical, and how you answer that question can literally change everything. You know, we tend to think of learning as just filling up a bucket with information. But here's a kind of a radical idea. What if the most important work, the stuff that really makes it stick, happens after the class is over? That's the secret sauce right there. And the tool we use to do that work is something called active reflection. Now, I know it sounds a little academic, a little fancy, but it's not. It's really just a simple, powerful process of looking back at what you just did so you can pull out the real lessons, understand how you've grown, and figure out what to do next. It's how you turn knowing something into being able to do something. To make this super practical, we're going to break it down into a simple 3-part journey. First, we're going to look back at the actual skills you picked up. Then we'll look inward at how you've changed as a person. And finally, we're going to look forward to map out what's next. Ready? Let's dive in. All right, part 1, your new skill toolkit. This is all about looking back, taking a really honest inventory of the new tools you've just added to your belt. Okay, so the very first step is to get specific. It's not enough to just say, oh, I'm a better presenter now. We got to break that down. What are the actual individual skills you can now confidently say you have? The key is to name them. So, for example, if you just finished a public speaking workshop, don't just leave it at better speaker. Did you get better at structuring your content? What about using storytelling techniques to make a point? Or maybe engaging the audience? How about dealing with things when they go wrong? Or, and this is a huge one, actually taking feedback and using it to improve. Think about it. Which of these did you really work on? And you can see how this all connects, right? These aren't just random bullet points. They're the fundamental building blocks of really effective communication. Each one supports the others, and together they create this solid foundation you can build on. Okay, let's shift gears and move to part 2. We're going from the external stuff, the skills, to the internal stuff. It's time to look inward and really measure your personal journey. Now this, right here, is such a powerful distinction. Skills are the what. They're the things you can now do. But growth is the who. It's about the changes inside, in your confidence, your mindset, your whole perspective. And that growth doesn't just happen in a bubble. A huge part of our own development comes from the feedback we get from other people. Understanding how others see your progress is a massive piece of understanding your own journey. So let's make this real for you, right now. Just take a second and ask yourself this. Think back to before you started whatever it was you just finished. How has your confidence in that area really changed? Is it up a little notch, or is it a night and day difference? Okay, good. Now let's build on that. Out of all those specific skills we talked about, which one saw the biggest leap for you? Maybe your content structure was already pretty solid, but your storytelling is now on a whole other level. Pinpoint your biggest win. And last one for this section, think about the tough moments. You know, the time the tech failed, or you got a question that totally stumped you. Getting through those hurdles, that's where some of the deepest learning happens. What did you learn about your own grit? All right, you've looked back at your skills, you've looked inward at your growth. Now for the final and maybe the most crucial step. Part 3 is all about charting your future course. It's time to look forward. See, this is the whole point of this exercise. Reflection isn't about building a little museum to honor your past achievements. It's about drawing a map for where you want to go next. It's an active, forward-looking tool. So how do you actually build that future? Well, it boils down to a pretty simple 3-step recipe. First, pick just one, specific thing to improve. Don't try to fix everything at once. Second, set a real, tangible goal. What does better actually look and feel like? And third, just commit to practicing. Because mastery is a journey, it's not a finish line. And honestly, this is the heart of it all. The end of a course isn't graduation day, it's the first day of the real work. It's about shifting your mindset to one of continuous learning, of always being in practice. So please, take a moment. Look back at how far you've come. That progress is real, and it absolutely deserves to be celebrated. But don't get too comfortable. This isn't the end. It's just a really important milestone on a much longer, much more exciting journey. And that brings us to the final question, the one that only you can answer. You've audited your skills. You've measured your growth. You know the path to getting better. So, what's your next chapter?